Welcome back to Living Local. Dementia and hearing loss are common health conditions among older adults. And if you have hearing loss and you're not using hearing aids, well, then your risk of dementia might be higher. And here to talk more about this study is Taylor Parker, Senior Regional Director for Concept by Iowa Hearing, which is also this segment's sponsor. Taylor, so nice to see you again.
Good to be back.
All right, so hearing aids, they can help with hearing loss if it's treated early. Are there other factors that can help prevent or even delay dementia?
Yeah, so there was a Lancet study done that came out about 2 years ago, and what they found was that there are 12 modifiable risk factors. So 12 things that you can actually do that can impact up to 40% of the dementia cases. Okay. And it's broken down into 3 age categories. It's under the age of 35. So good education, you know, when they say knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Education under the age of 35 is what you can do in that bracket. From 35 to 65 is brain injury, high blood pressure, physical inactivity, so being active. They found that those with individuals with a mild to moderate hearing loss are on average 30 minutes a day less active than those that treat their hearing. So I'm just talking with hearing loss. They're just physical activity in general, diabetes, alcohol, and hearing loss. So those are the things you can do between the age of 35 and 65. And what's funny is a lot of individuals think of hearing loss as something that I'll do later in life. That it's an age thing. That magically when I turn 65, I get Social Security and I go get hearing devices.
Hearing aids,
And this study shows between age 35 and 65, it's one of the things you should do to help offset dementia. And then for ages 65 and above, it's obesity, smoking, air pollution. And air pollution isn't just being in a large city where there's air pollution. There actually was a study that showed wood-burning stoves actually put up our carcinogen that can attribute to other health issues. So wood-burning stoves can actually be something that can cause things as well. And then depression and social isolation. There studies show that having depression or social isolation, is the equivalent of smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. So if someone is isolated, if they're, maybe just they live by themselves, they don't get out, that not having a proper, having interaction with people is the equivalent of a pack of cigarettes a day. Now, the funny thing about all 12 of these, what do you think the number one factor, modifiable factor, is on that?
Well, see, I know. Because I did some research on this, and it is the hearing aids, but that's just so surprising. And a lot of folks at home, they don't realize that, though, because you wouldn't think that.
Yeah, and when I saw the study, I'm like, yes, like finally someone's recognizing that hearing loss is a big thing in life, that it's something we have to take care of, we have to treat. And what they found was that, understanding how hearing loss works, that when you have a hearing loss that's untreated, you're not getting the signal to the brain. The brain actually compensates. It has to pull from other areas to help focus on hearing. And the 2 areas that it pulls from is cognitive, which leads to the dementia piece, and balance and gait. So you're actually increasing or speeding up your brain aging by not treating your hearing loss. So treating your hearing loss between the age of 35 and 65 is the number one thing you can do of all 12. And it makes up 10% of all of that. So out of 12, one of those is 10%. So 40% of all cases can be modified by looking at these 12 things, and hearing loss is the number one. So
it's amazing.
It's one of those things that we have to really understand and then do something about.
Right.
A lot of people, when we're doing segments like this and doing other things, helping people understand what the impacts of hearing loss is, that they'll come in, they'll get their hearing loss treated, or they'll get their hearing tested.
Right.
And then they'll say, oh, I'm not quite ready yet. So they make that first step, but you have to treat it. Getting your hearing tested doesn't help this, help this list. You've got to actually make that step, and you can reduce dementia symptoms by up to 75% by just wearing hearing devices.
That's amazing. 75%.
Yeah,
that's a huge number. How easy is it to get your hearing checked? What's the process like?
Very easy. It literally.
How long does it take?
If you have a hearing loss, we recommend about an hour, hour and a half. So if you call and you schedule your appointment, we would probably block an hour and a half, because we want to get a little case history. We want to understand a little bit of who you are, what your daily activities are like, what your life is like. And we also encourage you to bring your loved one with you. whether it's, spouse or companion, whoever it is, but we want to understand from them as well, because they see it from an outside view, where we see ourselves as what we go through. This helps us get a better picture of what's going on. And then the testing itself. So an hour to hour and a half. If you didn't have a hearing loss, it would probably take about 45 minutes.
And the cost?
There is zero cost.
Yeah.
It is free.
So, I mean, you can't beat that. You can't really.
We've tried to eliminate all the barriers to have people come in, get their hearing checked, and make that progression moving forward.
Right. What do you say to folks who come in and say that have hearing loss?
Yeah.
They're tested and it's shown that they have hearing loss, but they're not ready.
Yeah.
They're not ready. What do you say to them?
I really try to find out why they're not ready, what it is that's holding them back. It's affecting you. It's
and
affecting everyone around you, because everyone has to compensate for you. And it does. It puts barriers. It puts barriers between a spouse. It puts a barrier between kids, and it puts a big barrier between grandkids. The smaller the grandchild, the less tolerant they are to repeat, have interaction if it's work. They'll be honest. They'll tell you, this isn't fun. I'll move on. So and usually grandfathers, when they come in, it's usually a granddaughter that has said something that's gotten them to make that step. So it's just understanding that you can't wait. If you came in and got your hearing checked today, and we tested it, and you had a hearing loss, and you didn't do anything about it, when you wake up tomorrow, you're still going to have your hearing loss. And you probably won't notice much different tomorrow. But what happens is every day this goes by, you're changing the physical makeup of your brain. And when you make that decision and you say, "Oh, I'm ready now," and you go and you come in, you can't undo the physical makeup of the change that you made to your brain. Your brain is now in its new form, and it doesn't revert back. So understanding that it's just that nicking away every day at your brain, even though you don't really notice a change, it's going on. It's happening. These changes are happening all the time, and you can't get them back.
And that's why it's so important to get it checked.
You got to get it checked.
Taylor, always great information. Always learn something when you're here. Thank you
for
talking to us today. Again, this segment was sponsored by Concept by Iowa Hearing. And for more information, go to iowahearing.com. We'll also have details posted on ourquadcities.com. More Living Local continues after the break.